Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we've got one of the React core maintainers who's going to be teaching us about how the new APIs in React work to let us do async React. Please welcome to the show, Ricky Hanlon. Ricky, how you doing?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm super happy to have you here. I'm super excited to dive right into the code. But before we do that, can we just get a little bit of a background on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name's Ricky. I work on the React team. I actually just passed my 7th Facebook anniversary yesterday. So I've been working on React for a while now. I've actually been using it since like 2014, I think. So it's pretty wild. Before that, I was a backend dev primarily. And now I've been doing front end for quite a bit now.
Nice. Okay, so today we're going to talk about async React. And we're not going to go too much into the conceptual part. If you want to see that, we've got an episode of the Web Dev podcast that you can go listen to or watch, where we go into kind of the abstract. So in this show, we're going to jump right into the pair programming. So let me bring up my window here, and I'm going to show. Here's Ricky on Blue Sky. If you want to go give him a follow, this is the right place to go for that. And then also on. I just had this up. On Twitter, you can go find Ricky there as well. Let me throw that up on the screen. And all of these are going to be in the show notes. And we are going to be talking about async React, which I don't know why I didn't have your face up here. Sorry. Which you talked about at React Conf. So I'm also going to throw up a link to React Conf where you've got a full talk introducing async React and giving people an oversight into it. But I want to get right into the code. So Ricky, if I want to dive right into this, I've got a new empty project window here. What's the first thing I should do if I want to start learning async React?
Yeah, I mean, first thing we should do is just build a React app in whichever kind of like framework or start from scratch, whatever you want to kind of build it in. What are you thinking?
Okay, and so you said part of this is that we need an API and we want to be able to kind of fake that and control it. So I know how to do that really fast in Astro. So I'm going to do it in Astro because that's the one I know. Where are we going to go? Learn with Jason. And I'm going to make a new, or actually I'm just going to get, I want to do npm create, it was right there. Astro at latest, and we're going to call this one async React. Let me pull this up to the middle of the screen. Okay, so what this is going to let me do is this is going to let me have an API folder so that I can really quickly throw together our get and post endpoints, and then we're going to mount an async or a client-side React app right in the middle of it. So that way we have our full client-side React app, and we can fake an API to try these async features. So let me get into this new project, and then I'm going to open this one up in VS Code. Yeah, that's happy with that. See, we're not using AI today. We're using Ricky AI. So we've got our main index page here, and what I'm going to do is we're going to do pnpx Astro add React. I think that's all we're going to need. Okay, so I'm just adding in React here so that we have access to writing and running React inside. And then I'm going to pnpm run dev. And that's going to give us our app, which will be running out here in localhost. So we've got our extremely minimal app, and I'll take this to the left half, and then I'll take this to the right half. And inside of here, we can now start putting together some components. So you were talking about when we sort of brainstormed on like a good app to build, you had mentioned that what these async flows give us is the ability to handle the initial page load as well as user interactions. And so I thought maybe an easy thing for us to do would be to just create the old classic of either a to-do list or a blog roll, so that we can have some items and add new items to it.
Yeah, let's do a to-do. So we can show the thing we want to show is using async React features for both the get and the post or async requests.
Okay, so we've got our basic to-do, and so the way that I would do this in like traditional React, right, is I'd get in here and I would import some stuff from React. And then I would export a function called to-do list, and I would return, maybe let's call it an unordered list, and we'll give it some list items, and it would be thing 1, and then we could do a thing 2, and then out here, I guess we don't even need this yet, so we can just leave this out, and then over here I'd be able to import my to-do list from my to-do component, and then down here I can say something like async React, and then we'll do our to-do list, and we'll make it client only. We're going with a single page app today, and when I save this, we get our thing 1 and our thing 2. So let me make those a little bit bigger. So how should I actually set up our components here?
Yeah, I think a good thing to do and for the learning aspect is like we need to get some requests in here to fetch some data, and then we need to be able to like add a to do. So we need some posts. What do we start just using it? Like, how would you build this if you didn't know anything about the like new React features?
All right, let me put together really
hooks React app.
Wait, a pre-hooks React app?
No, 2016 post hooks.
26. Okay, post hooks. Okay, so let me just really quickly. We'll just do like a posts.ts so that we can. I think I can just copy this right out of the Astro docs, and then we'll have our. That way, we'll have our APIs running, and then we don't have to look at them again. So let me just really. Where's my docs at? Docs.astro. And then we're going to go to actions or not actions, to endpoints. There we go. And then I want probably just make these static for now. So we'll get one of these. So that's going to be our get. And this one, honestly, we don't need any of this. So we can just return a new response that is going to have, we'll do to-dos, and that's going to be an array. And each of these, do we need any like IDs or things like that, or do you just want to send back text?
You probably need an ID and text.
Okay, so
and we're going to probably be adding to this over time, so we can hoist that to.
Oh yeah, good call. Okay, so we'll get one of these. Okay, so that'll be our deal here, and we're going to respond with our to-dos. But what we can potentially do here is just like await. Let's see, a simple sleep function that I always forget. Async sleep. We're going to give it a milliseconds, and we'll default to 1,000. Oh my God. I'm on my fancy keyboard, and that means I don't know how it works. And so we're gonna say return new promise. Oh, stop whatever you're doing to help. You gotta stop it. And then we're gonna send a resolve, and we'll say set timeout. Resolve true. And the timeout is going to be whatever the milliseconds are. And I've gotten this wrong somehow.
Async function.
Right. And then I'm still
It's
missing.
usually when you're watching along to see those things, it's like shit.
Here's my set timeout. And that's going to resolve.
Here the milliseconds are correct before, but using parentheses instead of brackets for the.
Oh, right. Okay. I know. Yeah, you're right. So this then needs to be these, those. That should be, there we go. All right, so now what we can do is we should be able to just await, sleep, and give it whatever amount of time. So we'll say, wait, this takes half a second to load, or actually, because we want this to actually show up, we'll make it like 3 seconds to load. And then we're gonna,
you need to stringify those?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Stringify this. Okay, so now we have the ability to get these, which means that out here, we can fetch them. And so in order to fetch these, I would do something like to-dos and set to-dos, and then I would grab use state. And then I would set this to like an empty array to start. And then I would do something like useEffect. And inside this useEffect, I would have it say, we need a function to do the fetch, right? So I need like an async function get to-dos. And this is going to be const result equals await fetch. And this is, what was it? It was going to be API posts. And that doesn't need any details. And then we'll say set to-dos is going to be res.json. And we're just going to trust that that works and not do error handling, because why not?
That's a promise, right?
That is, in fact, a promise. Boy, we are learning that I have forgotten how to code today. So then in here, we can run get to-dos. And in here, we can to-dos.map. And that's going to give us a to-do. And then we can put out one of these, give it a key of to-do.id and a value of to-do.text, I think it was. Yes. Okay. And you're unhappy because why?
We haven't typed our to-dos.
Yes, we have not. Okay, so then this here would be array of ID number and text string. Did I do that right? No. Array. You? Okay. So now that I kind of remember how all this stuff works, that theoretically means there we go. We're getting our thing, and so then we can expand this to include a complete. Come on, bro. Or we'll say false. And then out here, we can expand. I should probably put this type somewhere else, but. And in here, we can set this to have a checkbox just to make this really easy. We'll say input type checkbox, and we'll say checked equals to do dot complete. And why are you unhappy? Must have a label. It's fine. This is kind of gross, but yeah, whatever. That's fine. Stop yelling at me. So this then is like kind of doing what we want, but it's a controlled component, so we don't have the ability to actually update it. So we would need to write an on change. You're nodding. I realize I'm kind of like running away with this one here. Am I going? I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah, this is great. Now we need a post endpoint to actually mark it to do on the server.
Okay, so let's add that. We'll export async function post, and that one is going to allow us to await sleep, and we'll maybe do nice and fast for this one. But then what we're going to do is we're going to take in the, what do we get in this? Do we get the
ID probably?
Yeah, it sends in, I can't remember what it sends in. Params and dynamic routing. Where's my post set? It's going to give us the request, and the request is going to have the body of some.
Do they have a post example on here, like command F post?
Yeah, they do.
There we go.
So we get the request, and then the request is going to have its bits in it. Somewhere down here, they should show an actual example. And the request is going to come in as JSON. So yeah, so we send in the body as JSON, and then we're going to get, okay, great. So over here, we can get the request, and then we'll get the body out. Here we'll say body equals await request JSON, and then, why are you mad? Oh, because we have to do it this way to get it to type properly. Oh, and then it needs to return a response of some sort, and that'll make it valid.
You also need the async in your function.
Thank you. Okay, so our response for now can just be something like okay, and that'll let me validate, or actually, let me do this. Let's make sure that we're actually sending through what we think we're sending through so that we can be sure that I'm writing code that works, since that seems to be questionable today. So we're going to say async function mark complete, and that's going to take the ID, which is going to be a number, and then that is going to take await fetch, and that's again going to go to API posts, but now it's going to be method post, and it's going to have a body of JSON stringify, and we're just going to pass in ID here. Then when we get that back, we can console.log. Okay, so then down here, each of these would get a on change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can say mark complete, and we'll pass in the to-do.id. You're unhappy because that needs to be one of these. Okay. Why isn't this wrapping? I feel like my auto formatting is betraying me right now. So then we have what should theoretically be the right components in place, that when I click this button, we should see the ID logged. No. API post unexpected token.
I think when you're posting, you're not passing the body stringified. Oh, you are.
Okay, so what have I done? Unexpected end of JSON input. So let's look at what I just did. And we're going to try this again. There's our async thing happening. So I'm clicking, it fails, and it fails because we sent through the ID, and the response is a syntax error. So my syntax error must be, it's an API route, it's an async request. We return a new response that is stringified. What am I missing? Let's see, maybe there's something in here that we... Unexpected end of JSON input. Not available in static endpoints. That's what happened. We are going to export const pre-render equals false. Now this thing should work. That 3 seconds is going to kill me. Console is not defined yet because I was halfway through debugging when I did some nonsense. That's fine. We're going to turn this way down while we write this. Let's make this 500. Okay. Okay. So
check the console.
That logged. And then when we click this other one,
but there's something
logs.
Something here if you go back to the network tab. I don't know if you noticed that you're firing off a lot of post requests.
Oh, I am. These are all the fetches, right? So, oh, haha, you saw this and didn't fix it for me, did you?
Correct.
Okay, so one of those.
So now we hit, it's funny, like we immediately hit one of the bigger frustrations with React right now, which is effects and getting your dependencies right. And the spoiler for later is that we're not going to need this effect. So you won't have to deal with this in async React world.
Excellent. Okay, so we've got that. We've got
for calling that out a long time ago.
Yeah, thank you for paying attention. And then we need one more. So I'm going to copy paste this. Oh, we'll fix this as well. But this one is going to be this one should actually be put, shouldn't it? Because patch or put. What am I thinking? It's put, right? For a modification.
A put would be a whole resource update. A patch would be a partial update. But
okay, so we'll use just so that I can keep the same route. We're gonna use patch for marking it complete, and we'll use post for creating a new one. And so in this one, the request that we would want to send through. So let me change this one to patch, and just make sure that still continues to work. You got to get out of the way. Okay, so that's still working. And then we're going to have one more, which is going to be create to do. And that's going to require whole to do item, which is going to have the same type as this, which I'll pull out for the sake of let's see, we need type to do item. And then down here, we can say to do, which is our item, which is going to be to do item. And this one is going to be a post. And we are going to put in the entire item. And so what we expect out the end of that is that it's going to give us the whole thing. And then I'm just going to wrap this in a fragment so I can put things side by side here. We'll put in a quick form and we'll give it a label of add to do, input type, text. We'll give it, I don't know if we need a name, but I'm going to give it a name of text, and then we need an initial value on this, I think, right? What's the starting value? Default value. It's just going to be an empty string. And then down here, okay, So then this, what we want is an on submit. We're going to run create to do. And we need to do that with, actually, why don't we do it this way? Because then we can just use the form input. And that's going to be the event. And then we'll get the form data is going to be event.target.form data. No, new form data of the event. Is it the target, current target? Is it just the event? No.
Yeah, it's event.target.
Okay, so then that should give us the const text is going to be equals form data dot get text. And that's actually our whole thing. So we're going to, it's not going to be a to-do item. In fact, it's going to be the text. And we can determine everything else from here. So to create a new post, we're going to do the ID needs to auto increment. And so we're going to do ID is to-dos length +1. And then we want to put in the text, which is going to be the body.text. And then complete is going to be false. And that should give us a functioning new to-do item, which we will drop in here. And then, assuming I did all of that right, form submit, no, submit event. Don't give me that. No? You? No. This is not what I'm here for. I'm not here to be good at TypeScript. Okay. So this then, this void is not. Can I just. I don't care about this. It's going to run without this, right? So theoretically speaking, then, if I say get better at TypeScript and add this, it just full submitted. We didn't prevent default on it. And so I can start there, then .prevent default, and try that one more time. Get better at TypeScript. Then it submits, it gives us a new ID, it marks it as complete false. Okay, great. So now we should be able to actually do this stuff and make it all work. So we're going to say to-dos.append.
Push.
That's the one I was looking for. I was like, why are we? Push that item. Okay. And then here on the patch, we need to, we're going to say const item equals to-dos dot find, and we'll say t dot id equals body dot id. And then we're going to item dot complete equals dot complete, and we'll just make it a toggle.
You did.
I guess we can just.
You did a triple equal.
God, I'm item dot complete. Fine. Gross. Okay. So then what's not going to change here is when I click this, it should update this thing, but it's not going to show anything because we're not refetching.
Right.
So then I need to figure out how to make it refetch. So then I would reach for what, like a dirty check, and just like set dirty to true so that it re-triggers the effect.
That's a great question. There are a lot of different ways to do it. You could do that. You could also fetch in the event.
Fetch in the event. Oh yeah, good call. So then I can just
But I
down
would
here
do
run.
for just thinking ahead, I would do the like maybe a dirty flag.
Okay. Dirty, set dirty. And then let's use state, and that's going to be false.
Do a counter. That way every
Counter.
time you click, it'll dirty.
Okay. And then we're going to make the dirty check part of our useEffect. And then we will set dirty to
Like a updater C+1. Yeah, D+1.
just copy that between our create to do and mark complete so that we can then, theoretically speaking, get better at TypeScript. That's it. And then we can say, okay, so that like, we're getting there. We're getting there. We have a functioning app. It's a little janky. You can see there's some stuff that I don't like about this. Like when I do a thing, it doesn't immediately
Increase your sleeps to like 2 seconds so you can really show that problem.
Yeah, good call. Let's go in here. Okay, so these are going to take, I'm going to keep the get a little faster, but so get better at TS. And it just sits, but then it does show up, and then the same thing happens when I click. Like it's eventually working, but I have no indication that that worked, which if I didn't know that I'd put that long sleep in, I would be sitting here going like, what the hell is going on? Right. And I'm just triggering a ton of additional calls. And if I clicked an odd number of times, it's going to look like it didn't work.
And some other problems. Right now we're doing just a constant sleep time, but if we were doing random sleep times, then we'd be able to show some race conditions here of things being like toggled in the wrong order and things like that. Getting that to repro is probably hard. It's one of those edge cases that.
Yeah, but we should see things kind of like popping in. Very, very chaotic when you do it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the other one is that we're not canceling. So all these are getting queued up and you like click a bunch of times. And now if you saw that after you stopped clicking, it's like coming in and.
Yeah. And so I think this is, so we've kind of demonstrated like I hit a lot of stumbling blocks and I've written a lot of React code. And this is a mistake I make every time. I always forget to get my useEffect right. And I always screw up these little things that cause me a lot of pain. And if I'm not using an API that's simulated, it's fast enough that I'm kind of like, oh, it's probably fine. I can probably ship this. And then it's not fine, right? Like you have a slow day and it ends up being pretty rough. So,
yeah. And one thing I think we should add one more thing and then convert this to async features. And the one thing is like when you add it to do, even when you mark complete, we don't have any pending states. And we can do that in this world. And, and a lot of the story here of writing an app like this is like you can do it, right? You can add is pending, set it, clear it when it's done.
Do you want me to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Pending, set pending. That's going to be use state, false. And then we could also do this for like on a per component basis, like a per to do item basis.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that with use optimistic later because it's much easier. But
All right, so for these, we'll set pending to true. Same thing on this one. And then when we get to do's, we'll set pending to false, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because we're kicking off a new fetch. So that would be where I would assume I would do that.
Yeah, that's going to have a bunch of bugs with it. But the other way has a bunch of bugs with it too. The way people would typically do this would be like in mark complete or create to do.
Mm-hmm.
You would set it to true before you do the submission, and then you would set it to false.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's smarter. Why don't we do it that way? We'll start it up at the top, and then we await everything, and then we undo the damage at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes more sense. So down here, we'll do the same thing here, and that one's going to be true. And then down here, we'll set it to false. And I guess in here, we'll say something like pending, and we'll just return. It should work. My auto formatter is broken, so I must not have prettier configured properly or something. But so as we do this, then. So gross. I like that it comes back and still takes time to fix the thing. Good. This is good.
Yeah. Let's move that loading state up to outside of the list. So the list kind of stays there and we'll.
So the list stays there?
Yeah, we don't want to unmount the list while it's pending. We just want to kind of show a little loading feedback. So above, maybe above the form, let's do like a.
Yeah, I can do that. We'll just turn this into a paragraph.
Or maybe let's do it below the form because this is going to shift content down. Or to below the list as well.
Okay. Oops.
So now this is interesting because we now have the loading state while the mutation is in progress, but we don't have the loading state while the fetch is in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not this continuous loading state. What you want is, again, with the like 3 paints, is you want the loading state to start right as the mutation starts, and you want it to be completely present until that final paint, and then one paint you hide it. And we could fix this. It's very similar to like what you were doing with the app, setting it to false after the effect, but it gets very complicated, and even that will have bugs.
And like I'm already looking at this and thinking like, God, if I had to come back and maintain this later, like what a mess I've made.
Right.
And you know, this is a really simple example, and it just feels like I've caused myself a lot of pain in these situations. And I guess in this case, we don't even need that response. And I don't want to suffer for writing these sorts of things. And like, this is a complaint that I've actually made. I've had conversations with like Dan Abramov about this, where useEffect has always been something that when I'm writing with it, a lot of times I feel like I'm like fighting my own like muscle memory as somebody who's written JavaScript for my entire life. Like it's sort of like, okay, well, take your JavaScript knowledge, but then put it on a loop-de-loop, and you have to be able to track how many loop-de-loops you've done to be able to do this properly. So how do we fix this?
Let's get rid of the effect. So first thing we want to do is we want to do our data fetch and render with use. And to use, you will need to use, you can think of as like await on the client. We can't just use await in components right now. In server components, you could just await the fetch. But for JavaScript reasons, we can't support that on the client yet. So let's do like a cache. Let's create a cache. So let's do const cache equals new map, and we'll cache this by key. Okay, and then let's do a const fetch data. Let's
And this is going to be like an async function.
Yeah, that'll be an async function. And let's give it a like URL as a key.
Okay.
Okay, and now if the cache doesn't have that URL in it, let's do our fetch for that URL.
Okay, so I'm saying const.
I would just do
Right.
like if not cache dot has URL.
Cache dot has URL.
Yep.
Then we're going to const res equals await fetch URL.
Let's do dot then response.json. Cool. Then cache dot set URL. That won't be the data. That will be the promise. You don't want to await the fetch here.
Oh, we don't want to. Okay, got it.
Sorry.
Just going to call it P. Cache dot set, and then we're doing URL and P.
Yep.
Okay, so we want it to be a promise in the cache.
Yep.
Got it.
And then return cache.get URL.
Okay.
All right. And now for our to-dos, instead of
so do I not want this to be async then?
Correct.
Okay.
So now instead of storing our to-dos in state, we can just do const to-dos equals use fetch data with the URL.
And our URL is going to be API posts. And we want to grab that, drop that out. And so actually I'm going to take this. So that we don't break everything else. Okay, so now we've got, so we don't need the get to-dos anymore.
Right.
All right. And then we don't need the useEffect anymore, which means we don't need the dirty check anymore. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can drop out my dirty check.
Let's delete that pending as well, because we're going to use a transition for the pending.
Get it the heck out of here. Look how nice this is.
We will need something to trigger a refetch, which we can talk about in a second. But
okay. So we've got our to-dos, and now if I save this, does this just work? No, because I got something missing down here. Oh, right. Okay, so now this immediately already I feel far better about. Like, this is what I've always wanted in React, right? Because this is how I think about code, is I would just, await it, but you can't do that in a component. So there was always this sort of like loop-de-loops. So thank you for fixing my loop-de-loops.
yeah, so now one thing that we can use now is suspense. So we can show a fallback state. And it wasn't super clear. We didn't show it, but in what we had before, the page would just basically be like the list would just be blank. We didn't show any loading state for when the initial fetch on page load was coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, we're going to need to kind of like have a higher level component. Like this to-do list will need to be a child of the component that's exported.
Okay.
Because you need the suspense to happen in the component below the suspense boundary.
And then do I want this to be, so thinking about the app experience, do I want to wrap the entire thing, or do I just want to wrap this list?
Just the list, yeah. So actually,
okay. So let's pull this out, and we'll call this one
to do page.
We'll make this one to do app, and then we'll come back out here and change this to do app. Okay, and then you are going to get function to do list, and that's going to return our to dos here, so we can hoist this up, right? And move it here, I guess. Okay, so we got that, and then down here, each of these is going to start living. Let's see, we'll have you up here instead. Okay, and then you go down here. But we want to wrap this in Suspense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we do a Suspense block, and that's going to come in from React. Okay, I fixed my prettier, which I'm very happy about. And I saw already.
Yeah, you need a fallback.
But it's already nice that like we get this before this shows up. So it's, you know, it's like baby steps, right? But so then to do a fallback,
Yeah,
just add in a component, right?
Goes to one of the points we were talking about on the podcast of like it not just being about like making it easier to show a loading state. We've segmented our app into a different like segment with Suspense, and so React is now able to be like, oh, only that segment, like the list part is like blocked, right? So we can render everything else outside of it.
And I think what I love about this is that the thing that made me choose React back in 2014 or 15, whenever it was that I built my very first apps, was that when I looked at it, it made like each React app felt like these collections of tiny apps called components. And if I could see the component, then I knew that was how things worked. And it was very easy to like compose apps because the components all fit together and they did the thing you expected. And this brings me back to that, like knowing that this is all of the like the component is here, it's got all the logic in it, and then this just tells React like, hey, you can keep running even if this thing can't break the rest of the app by like making it load slower by doing weird things that jump around. I now have full control because I can say, we'll do this instead until this is ready and then drop it in. And now I'm back to thinking in components, which is it's just a very nice experience.
Yeah. It feels a lot more Reacty than our Effect version.
Yes, I love it. So, okay, so we've got Suspense. I've got a fallback, and the fallback is I kind of did it while you were talking about something else, but it's just the fallback prop and any component.
Yeah, and if we wanted to, we could do like we could have like a glimmer instead of just showing loading. But yeah, this is great. Now we can fix our mutations.
Yes. So, which one do you want to do first? The mark complete.
Let's do the add to do first.
Okay.
So here we have a create to do. So this is similar like the dirty thing that you wanted. So now what we need is after we do the fetch. Let's move this down just because I think it'll be a little easier.
Move this down into move the form into its own thing.
No, actually, let's do the complete first. Sorry.
Okay.
So I want to show how easy this is. Let's go up. Let's add some state.
Okay.
There's a lot of different ways to do this because now we start getting into like needing a data fetching library solution, but I want to kind of show like a very simple way to do it. Let's do like to-dos promise.
To-dos promise.
Set to-dos promise. Use state, use an initializer.
You have to walk me through that.
Yeah, just pass a function there.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
and then return, and then move your fetch data request into there. So what we're going to do is we're going to store that. Yeah, we're going to store that promise in state.
Okay. And I'm not using this anymore?
Nope.
Okay, so this goes away.
Okay, and then we're going to use const to-dos equals use to-dos promise.
Got it. Okay, okay, that makes sense.
And let's move that to-dos promise up to the parent component. Pass it in as a prop.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. And then we got to grab it out here, which I'm not going to bother to type. We're going to explicitly say any, and everybody hush. Spell this wrong. Use to-dos promise. Why are you mad? Oh, I know why. Because I'm bad at TypeScript.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Everybody can yell at me later for that. Okay, so we've got our to-dos, we've got our to-dos promise, and we can see that like functionally nothing has changed.
So now what we need to do in the mark complete is after we're done marking it complete, we need to trigger a refetch.
So I need to get the set to-dos promise in here as well.
Yeah, but let's call that like a refetch or like refresh. So let's create a function. No, let's keep that the same.
Okay.
Let's create a new function called refresh to-dos.
Is this async?
No.
Refresh to-dos. Okay.
Do set state fetch data.
Set like this here.
Yep. And then we have to do one other thing, which is to clear our cache. Otherwise, this will just immediately reuse the same cache. So
Cache dot delete.
Here you could probably just do cache equals new map, but you could also
we might as well make it like,
delete.
Because that way, if we were to use this for something else, it won't blow everything away. And then I can down here just pass this to my to-do list as a helper. Okay, and then up here we've got our refresh to-dos. Okay, and that didn't work because why? Oh, because you shouldn't be here. There we go. Okay, so then we got our refresh to-dos, and then when we mark complete, we just run that?
Yep.
Okay. So theoretically speaking, this is everything we needed, right?
Yeah, so now does it work if you mark something complete?
It does. After a fashion.
So now let's add this feedback. Like when you click now in the app, when you click complete, there's no feedback of what's happening. Right. So let's use a transition for that.
Okay.
And the best way I would say we should do this is we should have a to-do like item component so that we can show a pending state on each individual item that you're marking complete.
Okay. And we'll get this is going to have ID, it's going to have the text, and it's going to have the complete state.
You probably just pass the whole item in.
I guess that's probably
So if we add any fields to it, you can.
Okay, so we'll start by just duplicating what we've got, which is to throw one of these out here. And we're not going to have a key on this. We'll have a key on the component itself. It's going to be
Yep.
We'll just call it to do because that's going to make my life easier
Yep.
and make everybody real mad. And then do I need to pass in this mark complete, or should I move the mark complete up?
You could move the mark complete down.
I guess we also then we'll have to pass down this refresh to do's, but that is okay. So then down here we've got our to do item. That's going to get a key. It's going to get the to do. And it's going to get refresh to do's, which is going to be refresh to do's. Let me do one of these. And
sure.
That should do it. Yeah.
So we haven't really changed anything yet. So just kind of like to refocus on the point that what we're going to do is when you in the app click on one of the items, there's nothing happens. And give it a second.
Oh, because I double clicked it because I thought it was broken.
So let's fix this. Let's add some feedback. And the other thing that happens is like while we're doing the fetch, you notice that it shows the suspense boundary, like it shows that loading.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that to happen either. So let's use transitions. A transition will allow us to show a pending state on each individual item that's updating. It will also prevent the suspense boundary from. So let's do const is pending. It's an array, so is pending and start transition.
Is pending start transition
Equals use transition. And then in mark complete, at the top of mark complete before the fetch, let's do start transition.
Any arguments?
Pass it an async function.
Okay.
And now you can move everything else inside of there.
All of this?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then for our pending, how do you want to show the pending state on each one? Maybe at the end of the item, we'll just add a ...
Okay.
Maybe make that a span, and it is pending.
Oh, right. Okay, so now oh no. What have I done?
You haven't done anything. So you're not you're not using the React compiler. There's kind of like a nuanced bug here.
Okay.
No, it works, right?
No. It's like not updating for some reason. There it goes. But it's still doing the thing.
Still doing the thing. And so the reason for this is that to do item is not memoized. So when you set, no, that wouldn't be it.
Did I screw us by going with not like a regular like Beat app or something?
No. Can you click it again?
Refresh to do's kicks off the whole thing again, right? So there's kind of no way for us to not kick off the suspense boundary.
Yeah, but it's in a transition, so it should happen in the background. Let's figure out how we can see what's going on under the hood in React. So can you check to see what version of React this is running?
Yeah.
19.2. Perfect. Okay, so go to the performance tab in the dev tools and just start recording. And then mark one is done. Okay, stop. And let's take a look here. Let's make it full screen. Okay. Now there's two timelines here in the tracks. So one's called scheduler, one's called components.
Mm-hmm.
So expand the scheduler. So this is one of the features that we shipped in React 19.2, which is these new tracks are showing you like what's going on under the hood in React. Can you increase Command plus to increase the size so it's easier for folks to see? And you can close that left sidebar with the insights with the, yeah. Okay. So let's expand the interactions. Let's find your click.
Okay, so we kind of see so there's the click, right?
Yeah, I think this is a bad recording. Let's try recording it again.
Okay, so clear, record, click.
Okay, let's check this out.
Okay. So we've got there's the click. And then here's where we end up suspended again. And then we get everything back here.
And can you zoom in to that suspended?
What a great question. Do I just like...
yeah, that works. And collapse that bottom bar there. Okay, and then in the components track, you can see which ones are rendering.
My components track is empty.
They're there. It's just you haven't zoomed in enough. So one thing we could do to make this way easier is decrease the timeout in your server, and then retake because like that suspended block is just like making it hard to see the tracks.
Let's take all of these.
Like 50.
And then take that one down to 50 and this one down to 50. Okay. Clear this, start the recording again. Click the button. See, and that time it didn't work at all. Okay, so this is the one that worked, I believe.
Yep. And so let's zoom way into the beginning of that click. And you can actually like scroll in and out.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So
scroll
left. We want to see. So in the scheduler track there, you see scheduler, you see blocking, transitions, idle. So and you may zoom out and zoom back in to be able to get to the beginning.
Okay. So we got our... Oh, yeah, you get way in, and I see. Okay. So we got our to-do item, to-do item, to-do item.
And scroll left. Something is like... We're looking for why this is... This is hard without driving. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess we should have set up the ability to let you control.
Yeah, that's where you want, over here.
Here?
Yeah, zoom in and see what's happening there in that blocking lane. Click on that update, and then expand the bottom panel where it says summary. Oh, yeah. That should be in a transition. You could click show ignore listed frames. Oh, fuck. Ryan is going to think this is so funny because I saw Ryan in the chat. So I know what the issue is now. The reason the suspense boundary is showing is because there's a synchronous update. And we only avoid showing suspense boundaries if it is a transition. And if you look at this code, you're like, well, refresh to dos is called inside of that transition, right?
Mhm.
So why is it not a transition? Well, there's this JavaScripty thing that is a huge pain right now, where you have to wrap that refresh to dos in an additional start transition after the await. So just add another start transition.
Like this?
It doesn't need to be async, but
Can it just be like this then?
yeah.
Okay.
And now our issue should be fixed.
Except I seem to have created like a race condition in here somehow, where it only updates sometimes. But it fixed the problem. So I think my bad logic around the post does and doesn't work is kind of not the issue here. But that works. I like that.
Yeah, but the pending state should stay all the way through. You click. Yeah, it does. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're back to really fast. I can let me turn these up a bit again. Whoa, what was that? $500. See that first, yeah, something I did here on that first one, it like doesn't work, and then everything is fine. I'm going to assume that's my bug, since we kind of faked our API. But this is great. So yeah, it does stick through. We can see that the pending state kind of stays with us.
So one thing now is like, it's kind of, for this use case, it's kind of like, well, maybe we should do the add to do next. How's
Okay. And we're a little over time, so we'll want to kind of get cooking on this.
Let's skip that. Let's just do the optimistic update. So
Okay.
in your do item, it's like we're showing this pending state, but let's just
Mhm.
what we want is when you click it, it's like it looks like it's done, right? So
Right.
instead, let's delete this is pending.
Get like
And
the whole thing.
Let's do optimist. Let's just change is pending to optimistic complete,
Okay.
and then set optimistic complete.
Here.
Yep. And then change use transition to use optimistic.
Okay.
And pass in the value that we want it to complete to, which would be to do.complete.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Great. And now our start transition, let's import that from React. And then at the beginning, before our fetch, let's set the optimistic complete. And set that equal to not optimistic complete.
Okay. So
Yep.
a quick question, because this is very interesting. Why would we not import start transition from React and use transition instead? Like that was kind of an interesting thing that just happened there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So use transition is you can kind of like think about it as a convenience layer for doing like an is pending state. Like use transition gives you the is pending, which is implemented as use optimistic. But now that we're doing our own optimistic state, we don't need the is pending state.
Okay.
So we actually go down. We're not quite done yet.
Oh,
we can remove
I know why I broke it.
State.
Okay, so I remove it entirely.
Yeah, let's remove the. We don't need a pending state now. We're going to do an optimistic update,
right.
and then
Right.
the checked state is going to be optimistic complete. And then one other thing you'll have to do is an in mark complete. Yeah, that works. All right.
We're happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now if you go in the app.
Oh. And look, we can see as these are going here. I think we'll see it here. Right? Like,
Yeah, you can pick it up
pending.
times and
That's nice. Like that now feels like what we expected the app to do.
and now we're at a better state than where we were with our effect example at the beginning, with less code, less race conditions.
This feels clean to me. Like this is what I want the code to feel like, right? Like I want to be using the to-dos down here. Like I want to just say my to-dos are this, and obviously up here we're doing the like kind of generating a promise thing. But this is really nice to be able to do an async operation here and not have to do the mental gymnastics of getting the effect loop right. I really like that up here I can decide what happens when, because like I could run some logic on this if I wanted to, where I could set a whole bunch of details about what is happening in the UI based on this. So if it was like a list on the add a new to do item, we can literally append a new component to the list and then handle all that. So this just feels like what I wanted the effect flow to be. This sort of feels like it sorts a lot of those problems out for me, which is really nice.
And then one last piece is that with this pattern now we can because one thing that's not great is having to do this start transitions and set optimistics and you gotta remember the start transition everywhere. But we could have a async react first check box component. So if you take your input type equals checked down below, let's just take that and put it into its own component. Let's call it like async input. Okay, and do I mark it async? No, we'll just do function. It's a component, so function async input.
Okay.
It's gonna accept two props.
Okay.
And there'll be the value, and then we're gonna pass a prop called action.
And let me just get this markup out of my setup here, and then I'll replace this down here with our async input, and then that's going to need the value, which will be
for this value, you're going to just pass it to do.ch completed.
Okay.
And then the action is mark complete. But let's rename mark complete as like complete action, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
Cool. Now we got to move some other things around. First, we're going to need to move this optimistic complete down.
Okay.
And let's just do optimistic value. Let's call it optimistic value and pass the value in.
Okay.
And then
that got weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So
and then this is our action now?
Not yet. So let's create a function in render. And let's just call that handle change, because it's an event handler. Handle change.
Okay.
Now take do a start transition. What we're going to do is we're going to transform this event handler into an action. So let's do an async function.
Okay.
So we need the new value. So we need the event target.
Okay.
So let's do set optimistic value event.target.value.
Set optimistic value event.target value. Okay.
Okay. And now let's do await action.
I'm just going to get you to be quiet. We are await action.
That's it.
Oh, now, I don't have to like do anything with it?
No.
Okay.
And then down below, we need to pass the handle change.
Okay. And so where did we get our ID from now?
in the action in the to do item.
In the to do item in the action, we are.
So now we can clean this up. And before you do that, when you called handle change, you may need to call that function.
Oh, right.
Okay, so now in our complete action.
Oh, crap. Hold on. We got to do it like this because we're passing the event.
Cool. That's fine.
Okay.
Love it. Now let's go to the complete action.
Complete action.
Okay. So
our ID number.
Since this is named action and we're using an action prop, what we've done in the input, in the async input, is wrap it in a transition. And the action suffix tells us that it's already inside of a transition. So we can delete the top level start transition.
Okay, so this one goes away.
Yep.
And this one goes away.
And we don't need to set the optimistic complete because that's being handled by our async component. And let's do one last thing. Remove that start transition from refresh to-dos.
Okay.
And down in your refresh to-dos function.
Where is that? Refresh to-dos, refresh to-dos.
Line 76.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's wrap that set state update and start transition.
This one.
Which is what like a data fetching library would do for you.
Okay.
You'll need that to be a function. Cool.
Jesus. Okay, there we go. Okay. So the only thing I'm missing though right now is I'm not seeing where we ask for the ID here. When we pass the complete action here, do I need to
you don't need the ID there because you can just instead of passing it to complete action, you can just delete that and to-do.id in your there.
Oh, right, because we can. Yeah, okay, yeah. That makes sense. Because we're basically encapsulating that.
Okay. Let's see if it works.
Okay. Ooh, I did something. We're getting a delay.
Oh, can you look in the to-do item, the async input?
Mm-hmm.
Set optimistic value not event.target.value because you're toggling it. There you go.
Wait, what am I doing? It's like fast once, and then it's not fast the second time. Optimistic value.
So instead of the target value, do not optimistic value. Sorry. There you go.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
No, all good. This is great. Like this feels good. And then we don't have to deal with that like untyped.
And now you can use the async input anywhere. And you'll automatically get an optimistic update. No matter what you do that's either async or sync or navigations or anything, you'll always get that optimistic value immediate. And then if you're thinking about this as if you had a design component library that already supported action props and you had the data fetching library that already did the transitions in the refresh to-dos, as a product developer, if you look at the to-do items the to-do item component, all you really have to do is write the code that's like, what do I do when I complete? I post to the ID. And all of that, like loading states and optimistic updates, you don't write. It's handled for you.
Yeah, I think this is great, right? Like I think this is really it, like I said before, it cleans up my mental model and it makes me feel better about doing these types of things inside of React, where before I sort of felt like I was working against the grain. This makes me feel like I'm doing the things that my brain wants to do. I'm making calls to load data in line. I'm, when I want to change something, I change something. You know, I'm not like figuring out how to trigger the dirty checks or how to reset my effect or any of these sorts of things. Like I'm off the loop-de-loops of the effect style hooks and into something that feels linear, the way that I would think about these processes. Click, do a thing, do the next thing, and continue with your business, and letting React handle all of those rendering checks. Like I don't have to know that React renders components every time something changes, right? Like it's no longer like that. To me, that feels like a really big mental burden to lift off your shoulders, is not having to care when React is going to re-render because you've optimized that away inside of these calls.
Yeah, and the other interesting aspect here is you kind of are writing this thinking about it as it more being synchronous. So if you look at like the like get to-dos and stuff and all of this other stuff, is you're kind of like offloading the mental burden of needing to handle all of the different async stuff. Right.
Yeah, I'm into it. Like I'm a big fan of this. I think this is a huge improvement. And I'm excited to like implement this into the React code that I write. We are over time. So Ricky, thank you so much. If people want to get deeper into this, where should we send them? Like I'm gonna send people to, again, the React Comp talk that you did, where you go over these APIs, and I'm gonna send them to the use docs.
So one of the things that I announced during my talk at React Conf is like the next step for this is to like get these patterns implemented across libraries to make it really easy to use. So if you're just using like React Query or a routing library or a design component library, you get these features by default. Mm-hmm. So we created a new working group on GitHub, where we've invited a bunch of experts from the community to help understand and help educate on these. So github.com/reactwg working group /async react
/async react. Here it is.
Yep. And go to discussions.
So get in here, look at the discussions. I guess I can link directly to discussions. That probably makes more sense. Okay, Ricky, thank you so much. I will send people one more time to your Blue Sky as well as your Twitter. And we are going to be back with more Learn with Jason in the coming weeks. I'm working on scheduling now. Ricky, any parting words for everybody before we sign off here?
No, this is dope. React is good, actually.
React is good, actually. Yeah, very, very much feeling that after seeing these new APIs. So thank you, Ricky, for being here. Thank you all for watching. If you're enjoying the show, make sure that you like, subscribe, and do all of the other things. Thank you for watching Learn with Jason. We'll see you next time.